the Miami Dolphins. I remember, I've told the story many times. I was on my way to the press box. He had to take an elevator to get up there. It's always a guy named Smitty. He's operating the elevator. Hey, Smitty, yeah, take him up to the press box. No, they're clear. So I get in the elevator. I'm the only guy in the elevator at that point. And I ask him something, just to pass a little conversation along. Because, it feels awkward, right? Everybody's in the elevator and they're all staring at the floors. Like what floor it's going on. Nobody talks to each other.
The elevator ride is the most awkward ride. No one ever talks. Right?
People start smelling their own armpits to see if it's them. I thought I had deodorant, huh? In Lubie's case, I don't know what you would recommend. We were thinking maybe a Dilaudid drip. Because his worst fear is that Ryan Tannehill carries a team to a Super Bowl after he and many like him, including, I don't know that I was adamant that he could never do it. Ian Eagle.
In regards to Lubie, he's not the first talk show host to fall victim to this. You make a statement, and then for the rest of your life, you root against that person because you don't want to be proven wrong.
Oh my God.
Like Ryan Tannehill is a nice guy. He's a class act. He's had a great second chapter with the Tennessee Titans. He's rebuilt his career. Yet there's Lubie in his basement with like a small little doll, sticking needles into the neck of Ryan Tannehill just because he doesn't want his original statement to come back to haunt him. And we've all been there. That's the thing. Like you can't get away from it, and it becomes very personal. Like there's no reason, there's no logical, rational reason for Mike to hate Ryan Tannehill.
Zero.
He's done nothing wrong.
Nice to Lubie when he was on the show.
Nice.
Correct, and yet you still have these feelings of rage, which you may need to seek some form of treatment at this point. You need to talk to a professional. I can't help you. It's beyond my pay grade at this point.
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very special. Good morning, everybody. Jeff Deforrest, Michael Lubie, Lubitz, the Defo Show here on Ion Channel, and very happy to be with you on this fine Wednesday morning. Freezing a lot of places around the country, kind of warming up here where we originate from and broadcast from in South Florida. So our empathy, our sympathy with all the people that can't get outside, but just been glorious here over the last couple of days. And this is kind of a getaway day for me. Mike Lubie, Lubitz, are you ready for this? Going to be taking off tomorrow morning for Viva Las Vegas. I see our friend Andrew Julian. Remember Andrew Julian from our radio days, Mike Lubie, Lubitz? Oh, he's not paying attention, but that's okay. Remember Andrew Julian from our radio days, Mr. Tex?
Yes, sir. Yes.
I
spoke with him. He's offered his services to come on our show, which is rare, but hey.
He's out in Las Vegas. I'm going to send him a message and see if we can't connect.
Yeah.
While we're out there, I don't know. He probably is on a different kind of cycle than I would be in terms of things that he likes to do. I don't know that he's a degenerate sicko gambler and is going to spend 12 hours a day in the race book. You got the West Coast for him? Yeah, I need all the night tracks. All right, you're betting Los Alamitos quarter horses at what would be like 11 o'clock on the East Coast, but it's only 8 o'clock there, and you haven't even thought about where you're going to go for dinner yet. And you've been punching all day. So that should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. But we're here today. And as we say, we've packed a lot into a short period of time. We go old school with Tony Segreto in the 8 o'clock hour. I would imagine Tony would like to talk about the football games that took place over the weekend. Are people tired of that already? Because I noticed, Lubie, you've pushed the show in another direction today in the first hour of the program.
I'm trying. I'm realizing we can only hold on to football for so much longer. We should start softly transitioning into the other world of sports, as painful as it is.
I mean, you can't help but admit that football has completely overshadowed everything else that's going on in the sporting world over the last, pretty much throughout the season. As nobody's paid too much attention to a couple of things, and actually good stories that are developing here in our own hometown, as the Miami Heat somehow, amazingly, with all the injuries and the decimation to their roster that they've had during the course of the season, not that they're alone in that, because the NBA has been afflicted by COVID protocols and guys testing positive and guys not getting vaccinated, and all of the same rigmarole that's gone on in other sports as well, and many teams have been compromised. And of course, there are always going to be injuries. I mean, you have injuries to key players. Chicago Bulls were writing a great story. All of a sudden, they're victimized by some serious injuries. The Brooklyn Nets, which has been I don't know. I mean, people rip Steve Nash, saying he's not a very good coach, and that what's that?
I can't blame him, but it's the exact situation we were worried about for him. Like, it's why we're like, are you going to put a guy that green with that?
Well, I mean, he's had Kyrie Irving playing now a handful of games only on the road. James Harden was injured earlier in the year, and at different times has been beset with nagging injuries. And now Kevin Durant's out for like 4 to 6 weeks. So a lot of juxtaposition in terms of who he's had to play and who he's had available to play. And yet he still has the Brooklyn Nets as the favorite to win the NBA championship. I don't know why I somehow don't see that.
Because they're not going to play together. And without the three of them, they're not a champion.
No, and even with the three of them, I mean, two of the guys are guards. And Kevin Durant is not your pure bona fide big man. I mean, he's not going to grab you 15 rebounds in a game, maybe occasionally, but he's mostly a guy that you see playing on the outside and around the perimeter. Maybe not quite as deep as the other two guys, but yes, capable of hoisting up any number of threes as well. Great ball player, and maybe in combination, these guys would be terrific and run away and hide with the NBA championship. But at 5-2, Lubie, I would have to say that's a very short price.
I would take your Suns and the Warriors. The two I think should be the front runners are the Suns and Warriors. They've been the most consistent all year.
Yeah, Suns have been great, but you refuse to admit that the Suns are great because you hate the fact that Devin Booker is the leading player on the Suns. And much like as mentioned in the opening clip, when you had a horrible opinion about Ryan Tannehill, which may, end up being vindicated and justified, because it's very possible that Ryan Tannehill never wins a Super Bowl, especially after watching that performance with the Tennessee Titans in the opening round for the Titans of the playoffs, second round for the other teams, but with the exception of Green Bay. Interesting that both number one seeds got knocked out after the bye week, which is normally considered to be so formidable of an advantage that it is a highly coveted position. You're home. You don't have to play the first week of the playoffs. You only have to win 2 games to make it into the Super Bowl. And next thing you know, both of those teams that were in that situation that had very good seasons and reasons they gave you to believe that they could win it all. I don't know about Tennessee. I don't know when anybody saw them winning it all. But I thought Green Bay would probably win the Super Bowl championship this year based on the way they played in the regular season. Now, there's always a team that gets hot. Is Kansas City that team? Are they the hot team right now? Everybody thinks they're going to win it all after that game against the Buffalo Bills. And those of us that play the ponies always know that you have to be aware of the bounce theory. And then after a game like that, it's very possible they bounce back. I'm not sure that Cincinnati is strong enough to beat them on the road, although they did it, and everybody's going, oh, well, they already did it. Regular season and second time around could be a different story. So there you go, Louie. I've destroyed your concept for the show because I know you wanted to talk about anything but
well, no, later.
The National Football League.
We do this now, and then I'd force us to move off.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that. I'm sure Tony will want to explore some of those themes and take a look at the games that are coming up over the it's all happening on Sunday, 2 games, and I'm going to enjoy it because outside of being at the game in a very intense atmosphere and an electrifying atmosphere, watching a game in a sports book in Las Vegas, I think, is the next best thing. I really believe that.
If you're a sports fan, you've never been to a sports book. If you're without your lady or your partner, and you can just be there all day. They don't have clocks. There's no sun. Like you can and if there's games all day, you could be there for like 15 hours. Like you could really spend a whole day.
They're handing you free drinks.
And they give you drinks. The food is easily accessible. A sports book is really hard to leave. Like it's really fun.
And it gets raucous. I mean, when you're there, and I'll never forget, I had done a radio show, a pregame show for the Super Bowl while out in Las Vegas. And then I was looking for a place to watch the game. I decided I was going to roll over to Caesar's Palace from the location. I forget where I was broadcasting from. It was like some centralized location where everybody that was doing broadcasts for the Super Bowl was located. Not really a Radio Row type of thing, but they just had one place where everybody went to do their individual broadcasts. And so I'm rolling across the conveyor belt that's above the sports book at Caesar's Palace, trying to find my way into the sports book. And I hear this absolutely raucous roar, and I thought, shit, I missed the opening score of the game. No, that place, I was going nuts. I mean, equally divided too. Yeah, no. And I'm thinking, oh my God, the game already started? That seems odd. I thought I had like another 10 minutes to get to my spot. And sure enough, it was the people reacting to the coin flip, which they all had money on.
That's my
Thousands of people going nuts.
Is they're screaming the entire time because there's bets on everything.
Everything. I was reading an article in, I guess it was yesterday's New York Post about all the different things that changed in the last 2 minutes of that KC Bills game in terms of wagering.
Wow.
And this is how insane the world is getting. I was with a friend of mine yesterday. We were doing a little project there and trying to get a gambling video together. And sure enough, I'm explaining to him, what the deal is. And he's talking to me about, oh, no, you could never broadcast this. That's not the way to do this. I said, it doesn't matter. If you're talking about gambling right now, people are betting on whether or not Nadal's second serve is going to be out to the forehand or backhand side. I mean, obscure stuff is being bet on. And a lot of bets changed. The proposition bets changed, which are very, very popular in the final 2 minutes of that game, as you might imagine. Travis Kelce had like an over-under of, I think, 70 yards receiving in that game. And he was sitting there at like 50-something, and then all of a sudden they toss him that little brick. And sure enough, he runs for another 20, and there you go, over. Impossible situation. 13 seconds to go, and you have Kelce still 20 yards shy of what he needs.
Exactly.
You're praying he catches a Hail Mary pass. Patrick Mahomes' third touchdown pass came in overtime in that game, and it was obviously to Kelce, who also had a prop bet of whether or not he would catch a touchdown pass. So both that bet that Kelce would catch one and Mahomes 2 and a hook was the over-under a number of touchdown passes he would throw in that game. So that was eclipsed in the overtime. I mean, those final 13 seconds changed a lot of lives.
That's crazy.
And a lot of bankrolls, too. And probably sent Brian Daboll. I mean, he's packing for the Giants, is he not? Although Sean Payton gets in the mix now as a coach that resigned with the New Orleans Saints and hasn't ruled out the possibility that he'll coach somewhere else.
Supposedly he's taking this year off, because that's why I was like, all right, Stephen Ross, get on the phone. And then supposedly he's not coaching right now. That's supposedly. We'll see.
Because when you say Miami, we're talking Super Bowl.
Me.
I don't even know that Sean Payton can solve this situation. They probably end up picturing him and depicting him as some kind of cretin after a 2-year stint here, when once again Chris Greer somehow prevailed in a stronghold over who's going to be the guy running the team, taking a position and kissing up to Steve. I don't know that he kisses up to Stephen Ross. What do you think?
100%. What are you talking about?
He still has a job. Flores doesn't. Who kisses up to Stephen Ross? Got to be Chris Greer.
Yeah.
With an inept record in the draft. I mean, just, putrid for all the draft capital that the Miami Dolphins had to be in the position they're in today, searching for a coach, searching for an identity, unsure of whether or not they have the personnel to even advance past this mediocrity that they've been involved in. Although, I guess 2 years ago, they had their best season by far of what? Like the last 20? Is that right?
I mean, I guess Gase didn't make a playoff, so I'm sure he must have had 10 wins or something like that.
He's probably pounding his chest right now saying, see, you fired the wrong guy.
Oh, no. I mean,
where is Adam Gase? Coach in high school? Where is Adam Gase? I don't know.
Coordinator or a coach, a quarterback coach or something somewhere. But like they've had years close, but that year felt like they were coming on, and Tua had played pretty well when he was healthy and out there.
You thought there was a chance this year would be good before they went 1-7.
This year you had a lot of hope.
That was quickly erased, as it's usually. As we say about what was once the story with the Florida Panthers, our hockey team here, they would be mathematically eliminated in November. Like the minute they dropped the puck, they would announce a little graphic would come up. Okay, mathematically eliminated from the postseason in a league where everybody makes the postseason. Yeah. More than half the teams get in the NHL and the NBA, for that matter. All right, I like the fact that you're pissed to start the day.
It's just funny.
Later on our Believe podcast, later on the Believe Podcast Network, After Hours with Defo and Lubie. It literally is after hours, because after we get done here, we're working after hours. But we're going to talk about this, what you think is a travesty.
I think it's
Big
funny.
Papi got into the Hall of Fame, and the other Reuters were denied. While we know that there were guys that certainly have aroused more than their share of suspicions about whether or not they were juicing, including very nice guy, and I hate to be detrimental or derogatory about Mike Piazza, because I had occasion to meet Mike Piazza through the Duke, and the lovely and talented one. Could not have been a more down-to-earth, nicer human being, a guy that you root for. He was a very popular player. He conducted himself very well, comported himself like a real gentleman all throughout his career. And yet, if you see him today and you saw him when he was playing, it's juice, and we're not talking apple or orange, my friend.
And I don't feel bad explaining it away, because to me, I'm not saying they shouldn't get in. Like, that's when I rail against Ortiz. He's a Hall of Famer to me, and Piazza, for what he did as a catcher, is a Hall of Famer to me. My problem is, and you're saying Bonds and Clemens aren't? Like, come on. Like, he's probably a top 3 pitcher and arguably the best all-around player ever. Even Willie Mays, Barry Bonds may be, in a lot of people's eyes, a better all-around player, and he's not in the Hall. Like, it's just stupid. It's just weird hypocrisy that these old school baseball writers have latched onto, and I don't get it.
Well, and Big Papi, a very popular player. I was a fan of Big Papi. He'd come to the plate, and there was reason to get excited. If Big Papi was coming up, if he was in the on-deck circle, you started thinking positive things about, any team, that he was playing for, especially when he was on the Red Sox and was a dynamic presence and, constantly a force for the Boston Red Sox. Certainly Hall of Fame credentials, 500-plus home runs. I think he had like 550, something in that neighborhood. Some people would kind of diminish his accomplishments, saying he wasn't an all-around player, that he was a DH, and that specialists like closers like Mariano Rivera, should get more scrutiny, although Rivera was the best of what he did. It's like not letting kickers into the Hall of Fame, and yet look what happened. You have what? I think 2 kickers in the NFL Hall of Fame. Is that the way it goes? 2 kickers, or does that include punters also? Ray Guy's in there, and Martin Anderson, is he not also a Hall of Famer in the National Football League?
Rosa, I don't
Lou
know.
the Toe. The Toe did more than just kick, though, didn't he? I think Lou the Toe. It's possible that he also played like a position. My recollection on that is a little, surprisingly, people, a little bit foggy. I want to say Lou the Toe Groza was also like a lineman, wasn't he? Was he like a defensive lineman, Lou the Toe Groza, or am I dreaming that up? Anyway, the qualifications, designated hitter has always been debatable, whether or not the designated hitter, somebody that was exclusively a DH for the bulk of their career, could they possibly be a Hall of Famer when they weren't an all-around baseball player? You would like to see a guy that, had excellent hitting statistics, also have been like Mike Schmidt, what was a great third baseman, according to Brooks Robinson.
Here it says Anderson got in. But Blanda wasn't a kick. Blanda was literally the guy that did everything.
Blanda was a quarterback, though, mostly.
Yeah, they put him they put 4 kickers. Jan Stennerud.
Jan, okay.
Those are the 4, at least this thing I pulled up, that are in the Hall of Fame. Kickers.
All right. Well, that makes some sense. Jan Stenner kind of revolutionized the approach to kicking with the soccer style. Was he the original soccer style kicker, Jan Stenner? Kansas City Chiefs. Very distinguished, though. I mean, as reliable as they come. The guy rarely missed. I guess what? Did he miss one in that triple overtime game or whatever that was, the longest game ever played between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins, Christmas Day? Never forget that. I was watching that in a cheesy hotel at what is now South Beach. Here in Miami. South Beach wasn't South Beach yet, and I was down here on a Christmas vacation, and I remember watching that game in the lobby of like the Surf Comer Hotel, which, was a rat-infested, roach-infested dump, paying homage to our good friend Hank Goldberg, who I haven't heard back from about our potential meeting out there in Las Vegas. Mike Lubitz.
Some health things, I think, so.
You think he's shut down his texting while he's incurring these health problems? Because I just sent him a text. Maybe I should call. Yeah, I'll give him a call today. See if that's happening.
See what he's doing. Let's start there.
Well, last time I called him, man, there was a little bit of, that kind of, what is that? Wanderlust, where, the guy seemed like he might be just out there a little bit, because he started, but he knew who I was and all of that. I mean, he's cognizant of what's going on. He's still working the cat. Yes. So we'll see if we can make that happen in Las Vegas. But I'm kind of with you. I mean, they've just... They triggered such confusion about the message that the baseball writers of America are considering in terms of criteria for Hall of Fame stature. You can't have a bunch of guys that are kind of quasi-juicers, and everybody knew they were doing it, like Bagwell you mentioned. I don't know about Biggio. I guess what? Same thing. Bagwell. Pretty obvious.
Didn't change his body type, but there were rumors. Remember, he had a lot of health issues, and what we've learned is roids help you stay out there. Bagwell, if you look at him like when he was in the minors, and
Yeah.
you look at it, he was
He
like,
looked like McGuire. McGuire was a skinny stick of a figure, right? Still had power, but nothing like the immense power that he displayed once he started juicing and became twice the size. And
yes.
as I've told the story many times, when he was in the chase there for Roger Maris's record of 61, which, think about that. That's like a joke now. That's like Punch and Judy numbers, 61 home runs, if you consider the Royd era. Now, interestingly, I don't know how much, more they're able to kind of legislate or whatever, kind of get drugs out of the game, performance-enhancing drugs. But you don't see any of these numbers being approached now, do you?
No, because they've cut down on the roids, which again, I'm fine with. But then you can't pick. I just don't understand the picking and choosing. Well, Bagwell, Ortiz, you're in. Bonds, Clemens, no. It's like, who gives a crap if they're meanies? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, it should be about what they did on the, unless, okay, look, if they break the rules and they're criminals, maybe, I guess. But none of them did that. Clemens and Bonds did not break any rules. It was not illegal. So, and they've never failed a drug test. So, but Ortiz did. Ortiz failed a drug test that was not supposed to count, but that can count toward the Hall of Fame. So I just, it's so weird. Like I mean,
Bud Selig is in the Hall of Fame. That's also part of the disgrace. This was a guy that really, you talk about permissive. While pretending that the issue didn't even exist. I mean, Bud Selig and Ron DeSantis, very much in the same boat. No, the Florida governor. COVID? What COVID? I don't know anything about that. Right? He goes Pentangeli whenever they mention the disease, which has knocked America on its ass and the rest of the world for the last 2 years. Can't even believe it's still going on, right? I mean, I was out of place yesterday, and I was thinking I better wear one of these, right? I might even wear one on the show just to
guys, we never have
avoid catching anything. I don't know. I kind of backed off on the mask thing a little bit in my own personal adventures. And yet going into an elevator in a place where you knew that there were like COVID outbreaks, I'm going mask on. I mean, if I can minimize the chance of catching this thing, I don't want to be sitting around even, for 2 weeks with a massive headache. Do you? I have enough of a headache just trying to figure out where all this is going.
I say my life is a headache. I don't need extra.
Yeah. Who needs the pain? Let it be figurative instead of actually literal. That's the way to go. All right, a lot of things coming up here on the program. Tony Segreto goes old school with us. You're pissed about Ortiz, and I would have to say that is the most inconsistent, vile, breach of any kind of criteria that you would have about juicers, that you would allow David Big Papi Ortiz in, which Hall of Fame credentials, yes.
Yeah, yes, he's a Hall of Famer. That's fine.
Yeah. But to have now 10 years, they've been shutting out Bonds and Clemens, and I was just as much a fan of keeping them out of there. But if you're going to do that, then and there were suspicions about many players, but those two seem to be the poster children. Certainly Bonds, and of course A-Rod, who received a relatively insignificant number of votes. I mean, for surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, if there ever was one statistically.
That's funny.
It's Alex Rodriguez, right? Over 600 home runs. What is he, like number 2 on the all-time list? Something like that?
And he was a great, unlike Jeter, who was a good fielder, he was a great fielder. Like A-Rod's probably the best all-around shortstop ever. And he played third. Yeah. He played a Gold Glove kind of third. He just was a douchebag.
I tell you what, he gets a lot of hot chicks. That's for sure. I mean, besides celebrities, you see this latest babe he's hanging out with. I mean, he's not missing a beat, A-Rod. Unbelievable.
Yeah, she's like a blonde.
Very shrewd businessman also. Now, if you have billions, you can afford to make a few mistakes, correct?
Yeah, well, that's the game.
But no, he has a real estate company. He started here in Miami. My son had a girlfriend at the time that was working for A-Rod. And apparently he was like a pleasure to work for and took, great care of his employees. I remember my son was getting like floor side seats there at center court for a lot of Heat games because he was always given, very generously a little extra sort of amenities to and rewards to the people that work for him. Nice. And if you had invested in Miami real estate, which, my brother was smart enough to do many years ago, especially down there in that South Beach area, you probably don't have to work anymore. That's for sure.
I think no.
A-Rod owns a piece of the Timberwolves. He's got some hot fitness model that he's escorting around Wisconsin and Minnesota in the cold confines of. He was at Lambeau sitting in the stands. A-Rod.
Yes.
The fascination with him as a broadcaster still is
Oh,
mystifying.
he's-
I don't understand. I could see him having a podcast, people listening to it, but to force feed him to us, the baseball audience, as if he had, and he should have great insight into the game, right?
knowledge. He was great.
He imparts none of that to you during his broadcasting. None of it. You know less about the game after, and you even have more suspicions that the game's not on the level after listening to A-Rod as a broadcaster. That thing where you don't want to have an odd number lead of runs.
I don't get that. What does that mean?
Whew. Do the math on that one.
4 is better than 3.
All right, here's where we're going with the program here. We're going to do a couple of quick things that are, a little aside from football here and the Big Poppy. You were screaming this morning, Lubie, and I respect that. I really do, because it is outrageous.
It's just, I just don't get the inconsistency. Look, I'm not, I hated Bonds. Like when he was with the Giants, I railed against Bonds. I hated Clemens. But pick a side. Either none of them get in, and I love Harvey. The asterisk thing is stupid. Like, I'm not giving you an asterisk.
Asterisk is the dumbest thing that ever came into sports vernacular.
That's it. You're in or you're not.
Yeah.
Maris did nothing wrong. It wasn't his fault that they changed the goddamn games. Like, I mean, Babe Ruth didn't play against black people. Like, so, but there's no asterisk for Babe Ruth, and that's a lot bigger handicap than adding 5 games. Like, just pick a side. Like, be consistent. That's all. That's all I'm asking. Either let them all in or don't.
You're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. And if you're not going to exclude everybody who's under suspicion, or in this case of Ortiz, actually failed a test, and somehow under the masking, I mean, baseball masking its own masking, as the test didn't count, right? First, they were worried these guys were. I mean, Bonds had to have incredible masking agents. I mean, he must have been getting stuff from the darkest regions of German scientific labs, right? I mean, how the hell was he never read it? Did they ever test him? Weren't they testing him like every half hour when he was closing in on the Hank Aaron home run record because they wanted to protect Hank's reputation?
Supposedly.
And they still never forget that video when they pulled back and the machine guns were being held to Hank Aaron's head by guys with ski masks on, dark clothing. And he was saying, I would like to congratulate you, Barry, on surpassing my record that I worked fucking hard for. What was he really thinking, Hank, at the time? What do you think?
We all know.
Congratulate the guy? I don't think so. All right, we're going to talk a little boxing. Hialeah has a great boxing card coming up. One of my favorites to talk about. I always love enthusiastic manager promotion types from the boxing game, especially when they have legitimacy to back up some of the things they're saying. Everybody can make boisterous claims. Oh, yeah, my guy's going to knock out everybody. And then the guy goes in the ring and gets knocked out in his very first pro debut. But I guess you can only have one pro debut. But Louis DeCubas has, he's been responsible. I don't know. It's some ridiculous number, like 30 world champions.
Oh, geez.
He's managed, and he's teamed up with my friend Leon Margulies of Warriors Boxing, and they're staging the card at Hialeah Park. So we'll get to talk some boxing with Louis DeCubas. A lot of exciting young fighters on the scene, and he has brought, as I said, many distinguished champions to the United States of America and manage their careers once they turn pro here, Cuban fighters, and others as well. I mean, it's not like it's exclusive to him just to deal with Cuban fighters. He's been all across the board. I think his son's now involved in boxing managing, and so Louis is going to join us here in a few minutes, talk about the card on Friday night at Hialeah and his boxing career and the many champions he's developed. Scoop Skolnick, Ethank Skolnick. People around the country might not be familiar with this cat. He has a thing now called 5 Reasons Sports Network. Very innovative, much like we're trying to be here, although he beat us to the punch. Gets, jobbed out of his newspaper career and says, you know what? I just start my own thing.
Yep.
And now has eclipsed anything that's going on in terms of local coverage in the local newspapers. So Scoop Skolnick, Ethan Scoop Skolnick, is going to join us and talk about Lubie's beloved Miami Heat, who are a pretty remarkable story this year, I would have to say. For them to be in the position that they are in at this point in time in the standings would make me think that Eric Spoelstra was either a fool for not playing these guys much more before, or is the coach of the year by far in a runaway over anybody and everybody, including, guys in Phoenix and San Francisco and anywhere else around the country where they're playing good ball. All right, back with Louis DeCubas in a moment here. Hialeah Park, of course, staging a boxing match. It's Friday night. Not sure what the availability of tickets is. Frank Fiore has been feeding me some information from the press conferences and about the card, and I just know it's going to be spectacular. Have you schnorred and scored your tickets yet?
No.
I know you said you had a conflict, Lubie.
It's a hectic weekend, but I'm doing my best to get down there, and if I can't get down there, I'm going to be very sad because they always put on a ridiculous show.
Oh, it's great. It's just a great atmosphere. Boxing is very much driven by the atmosphere that you get when you come into particular arenas. That's why I love going to the Olympic Auditorium every Thursday night out in Los Angeles. Don Chargan, the matchmaker there, was known as War a Week Chargan. Because every week, it didn't matter. It wasn't always the main event, Louie, but even the undercard bouts were spectacular. And that's kind of the theme that Leon and Louie operate with when they're putting cards together like they are on Friday night at Hialeah Park. Get your tickets at HialeahPark.com. We're going to come back in just a moment and talk to Louis DeCubis. Outstanding. Long-term boxing manager. Doesn't get as much play as he should, Lubie, in the international boxing press.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk to him in just a few minutes here on the Defo Show on ION Channel. And you can Google the Defo Show and find all of the shows that we put together here when we started, last week of October or something like that, like October 18th.
Yeah, it'll
so we, a few months now we've been doing this. We should be getting polished up a little bit. Mike Lubitz.
It's a work in progress.
It's still a bit of a mess. No, it's great. Certainly through no fault of the people at ION Channel. They've been dynamite. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He is Mike Lubitz. Louis DeCubis, an extraordinary boxing manager with just a great. You talk about volumes of stories that he has to tell about fighters. A fantastic guy, too. He's going to join us next year on the Defo Show in just a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 7:32.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine foods served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side?
Hey, it's Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, here for my friends over at Shenanigans Sports Pub. It's a great place to go to take in a game, a good meal, and a couple of drinks. My friend Patrick, he's been doing it a long time, and he's got 2 locations. West Side is right across from TY Park in Hollywood. And then the East Side location is at 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Shenanigans is the place for wings, burgers, barbecue, fresh fish, anything you want, drink specials, late night dining, outdoor dining. It is the place to go, family friendly. Go to Shenanigans and tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
You know, people don't like being lied to. That's always the thing with Pete Rose. If he had just said, of course I bet the Reds. What are you talking about? I had money on every game. We know you did, Pete. It's all right. I mean, now it'd be accepted. In fact, they would have, it's only a matter of time before the manager of the 2 teams is asked who he likes in the game. All right, we're going down on the field there. We got Tony La Russa. Tony, what do you think tonight? White Sox minus 135? Well, you know, we're going to go to the pen right away, and I'm going to make like 7 righty-lefty switches at inappropriate times, and I'm going to wear out my bullpen. In fact, all of these guys worked in the game last night, so I would think this. I would take the points, take the runs, and take the price on the Boston Red Sox tonight to beat us. I would not lay 135 to win 100 on the Chicago White Sox. Okay, thanks, Tony. Let's go to Alex Cora. Cora, what do you got? Well, you know, we got all our heavy hitters at the beginning of the lineup tonight, and they really pound this White Sox pitcher the last time he was out there. So I would think that we're a good bet, money line, straight up. When's that going to happen? I mean, that's going to be part of the pregame shows now.
Enjoy your trip to work with lots of laughs thanks to Defo and Lubie. Now on the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show, the Defo Show here on Ion Channel. Jeff Deforrest and Mike Lubie Lubitz with you. No luck with Louie, huh? Mike Lubie Lubitz, Louie the Cubist after that big buildup?
Yeah, none.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with the
All
great.
right, hoping to, what's that?
Don't know what's going on with them. I'm going to try and get them on. I'll keep you posted.
Okay, all right. We'll see if he can make that connection. We are going to talk to Ethank Skolnick about the Miami Heat and the NBA. Scoop, very thorough when he gets into Miami Heat stuff. I mean, you know, there's a writer here that's been covering the Heat since their inception. I mean, he should look older, actually, shouldn't he? Ira Winterman of the Sun Sentinel.
Yeah, they both aged really well.
Winterman, you know, here's one of my dead ringers. So Ira Winterman and Marco Rubio, the senator from Florida. Ira Winterman,
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good
and
one.
Marco Rubio. Rubio probably has more hair at this point, and I would imagine, you know, if you had my money, I would always venture to say that Winterman has a far better opinion, not just about the Heat, but guns. What guns? No, I'm not getting any money from the National Rifle Association, right? I mean, how ridiculous and hypocritical is that guy? Unreal. We don't want to get too heavily into politics here because we might have to duke it out with somebody in the ring, which is why we were hoping to talk to Louis the Cubist. I want to say, you know, his best, you know, is that's a question I've asked, and we live in a largely Cuban-populated community here. If you factor in, I ventured into Dade County yesterday. It's, you know, kind of another world there, Mike Lubie Lubitz. Entirely different atmosphere and approach than you have here where we are in the sanctimony suburban-type Broward County. But nonetheless, and you know, traffic just miserable. I mean, it really goes into the depths of how tough it's going to be to navigate this city in about 10 years unless somebody comes up with a reasonable plan. And it wasn't, what was the great solution, Lubie? Metro fail.
Yeah.
They spent billions of dollars on, and it was characterized very well in a popular blues song. A lot of guys do a version of this song called Train to Nowhere. And that's pretty much, they should have had like Savoy Brown just at the premiere there, right? I was at the ribbon cutting for Metro Fail, and that was the last time any of those train cars were occupied by anybody.
Exactly.
Other than, as we say, the Hialeah cleaning ladies who were trying to make their way to Biscayne Boulevard and, you know, are making use of the transportation. All right, Scoop Skolnick going to join us shortly. Does that mean you have him on now, Mike Lubie Lubitz? You're popping this up. Oh, coming up, because I can't see that part.
I know. I'm not sure what you can see, but I'm hoping the people watching can see it. Just letting them know we will have him coming up like the next, I guess, segment or this segment, whatever you choose.
Amazing. I mean, it's really, it looks like Scribini time when you're watching the Miami Heat. How are they nearly atop the Eastern Conference? Are they on top now by themselves? Because, yeah, Brooklyn Nets, what?
Lost yesterday.
They lost to the Lakers, did they not?
They got pounded by the Lakers. Yeah, a healthy Anthony Davis and LeBron annihilated the Nets, an injured Nets.
There's never a time. I mean, Anthony Davis is really like the proverbial Midwest wrestler, nondescript, very pasty looking white guy with a big giant gut that you never heard of. And, he's going against, some sensationally popular professional wrestler, like going against John Cena. And then he comes into the ring and, it doesn't even have look like an outfit that he just went to like a costume shop before he got to the arena because his bags didn't arrive or something, and it's from Winnipeg, here is Joe Smith. Joe Smith. You're like, what? Does this guy have any chance in there against the champion? You would have to say absolutely not. But yeah, I mean, there's a reason to believe. I mean, these scrubs. Where do they come from with the Miami Heat?
Right.
Anthony Davis, by the way, yeah, he's always on the floor. That's the
Yes.
point I was trying to make.
Oh,
I mean, he's always the one highlight I saw of the Lakers game last night. There was Anthony Davis sprawled out on the floor. He'd just come back, right, from like 16 weeks. I don't know that he's fragile. I mean, is he just like Sam Bowie with bad luck?
Yes. He's found a way to
Anthony
have
Davis
a career outside of Bowie, where Bowie was hurt and it affected his career. Davis is still always an all-star, All-NBA, considered a top 10 player, but he's still always hurt too. It's an interesting combination.
But the stuff he gets hurt on, I mean, he'll be hustling. Like I said, the one highlight I saw, he was like that wrestler, just smacked down on the floor there with guys, all over him, and the referee at a 2 count, just about ready to throw down the hammer on 1, 2, 3. So, yeah, it'll be interesting talking to Scoop, see what he thinks, because I do believe you don't see a lot of Phoenix Suns basketball on national television, even though they're the best team in the league record-wise by far. I mean, I think they're 3 up on Golden State now, even though Golden State got Klay Thompson back. What happened to Golden State that all of a sudden they have Klay Thompson back, and that was the most anticipated move of the basketball season, his reinsertion into the Golden State Warriors lineup. They were playing great basketball, and now all of a sudden they've fallen 3 off the pace. They were slightly ahead of the Phoenix Suns on the occasions where I actually checked the standings, but that wasn't that long ago.
No, they're 3 games up. You're not wrong. It's interesting. Klay came back. There was a lot of hullabaloo, but of course, as you know, it takes time to work the guy back in, and that's why they brought him back now, so that he has pretty much half a season to be ready for the playoffs. But the Suns have just been great all year, and Chris Paul's playing out of his mind.
You forgot to mention the guy that you
Booker's
preferred Justice Winslow for, Mr. Scout.
Everyone.
Yeah. Devin Booker. Not everybody.
12 teams.
There were those of us that were campaigning openly for like a half a year. You got to get this kid. And especially, I mean, and right there, sitting there on the board, Pat Riley. Have you ever whiffed on anything? How did he do that? Pat Riley, the kid went to Kentucky. Pat, what is wrong with you?
I mean,
we'll put that to Scoop Skolnick when he joins us here in just a few minutes on the show. Tony Segreto is going to go old school with us, and I tell you what, we'd love it if Tony also went down to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill with us. Yes. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill in mile marker 104, right there in the very north side of Key Largo. So you don't have to venture too far. You can go by that place. What is that? The Mutineer? We ate there. There was kind of a cheesy looking crowd in there, and they were doing karaoke, which is also a little bit funky. Like
it was like bikers doing karaoke. It was weird.
Yeah. Biker karaoke.
Strange.
Like that time we went to Flossie's.
At least they were
what did you do? You sent 2 Cosmopolitans. Well, I was going to do this. I was going to send 2 Cosmopolitans to 2 guys that had like nothing but skulls and crossbones tattooed all over their body, including their faces. And what were they with? The Outlaws, which is a particularly, the Hells Angels look like Up With People compared to the Outlaws. And so,
they were
and I was going to send those drinks over and have a note there saying, gentlemen, you look like the types that would enjoy these. Like a lemon martini or something,
Ruddy and I had to be like, no.
Chocolate martini, send it over there.
We don't want to die tonight.
And then everybody's pointing to you. Yeah, he was the one that sent it.
Exactly.
Next thing you know, not even a pool cue. I mean, just, a machine gun comes across your head, the butt of the gun. Talk about running out of there. Anyway, yeah, no, that was some serious biker stuff that we got involved in. And, You ever walk into a place? I guess you realize, it's like Mind If We Dance With Your Dates, right out of Animal House. You just realize that, you know what? This might be a cool place, but we probably shouldn't be here. That's what I feel about this. It was sort of an awkward moment. I had that big. I really was looking forward to talking to Louis de Cubas here. It's Frankie had this thing all set up for us, so it was great. But it's still going to be a great show, and we'll try and we'll get Louis de Cubas on. Either tomorrow or the next day somehow. Lubie, you're going to be doing some kind of arrangements here on the program.
Tomorrow, Friday, and Monday, we're just going to be doing shows, and
beautiful.
We'll have a lot of fun. Defo will hopefully not lose his shirt.
I could use a new shirt.
Kind of a shirt when you get back, please. Don't be flat broke.
I think I slept in this one, to be honest with you. I'm not even sure where I pulled it out of. It was dark. Coming up with Scoop Skolnick, then Tony Segreto goes all school. That's brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants and also Catholic Health Services. Two fine organizations and very different ventures, right? Healthcare and then feeding people. I guess it's all related. You eat good food, you probably stay healthy. But and Catholic Health Services would be rooting for you. But if you are in need of any kind of rehab, man, I mean, I can't say enough good things about this company. They really are great. All right, so we're coming back with more in a moment. And Tony would like to go down to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, I'm sure, when we get down there. And I hope he is able to make that trip because it's just the coolest place to hang out. Unbelievable what goes on there. The food is dynamite. Dominic and Jimmy, you know John. I mean, is John not the ultimate stand-up guy?
No,
if you were talking about the American dream, it's John Kangemi, a gentleman. The whole family is like super cool.
Great. Man, that family's really cool.
Hard-working people too. I mean, it's not like Dominic's back there just really. I mean, schwitzing and cooking is up a storm. All kinds of different creative things. Food is great. Atmosphere is great. Great place to hang out. It's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104. It's going to be rocking there on Sunday in a remodeled sports bar. And who knows? Maybe the Jimmer shines on his responsibilities with Fox. Do they have either of the games? They probably still do a pre and a post game show anyway, right?
NBC is doing the Super Bowl, so Fox has, I think, the NFC, and CBS has the AFC. I think ESPN's
All right, very good. All right, so anyway, Jimmy will be out there possibly. You never know when you're going to catch him, Jimmy Johnson. It's always great hanging out watching football with the Jimmer, man. Who's got more insight into the game than this man? All right, we're coming back with more. Scoop Skolnick on baskets and the Miami Heat, and I'm sure I'll have great detail on how the hell are they doing it, man? I mean, you talk about doing it with mirrors. He's going to join us next year on the Defo Show. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He is Mike Lubitz. Back in a moment. Now that. It's 7:48.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
The championship meet is right around the corner at Gulfstream Park. The only place for live racing, Gulfstream's action has never been hotter. Whether it's on the track, in the casino, or part of the dining and entertainment offered at the Village of Gulfstream Park. Currently running Thursday through Sunday, Gulfstream's racing package is the best in the country, with all the top horses and people in the game pointing towards another tremendous winter season. Check out the remodeled first floor casino, open 7 days and nights a week, along with the many special events and concerts happening at Gulfstream Park. You can place your wagers from anywhere at firstbet.com. Check the calendar of events at gulfstreampark.com.
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen. On the local scene, the Heat, of course, making changes. I read a very encouraging article about the Heat's prospects. Not to win the championship so much, but to at least be a very, very big factor in the Eastern Conference, Mike Lubitz. You'll be happy to note that somebody actually agreed with your opinion.
That's a lot of people said that. They have an interesting team, and like you said, they're the toughest team in the NBA. You wouldn't want to meet this team down an alley.
No, I mean, this a team that's going to treat everybody the way Tyson treated Mitch Blood Green if they meet in an alley.
The best way to kick off your day is with Defo plus Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show on this fine Wednesday edition of the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest, Michael Lubitz, and we're going to get into some buckets here with the #1 guy. I mean, if you're in South Florida, there are a couple of guys that you have the Marco Rubio lookalike, Ira Winterman, who's been covering the Heat forever, and then you have Ethank Skolnick, who I think goes toe-to-toe with anybody when it comes to basketball. And we welcome Ethan, who was the founder, CEO, and the main impetus behind 5 Reasons Sports Network, started his own network, and now, Scoop, did I see somewhere on social media that you've moved on to something even of a larger scope? How are you, by the way?
I'm good. Good to be with you here, Defo. It is in progress. I will just say that. It's going to be a little bit more national, but 5 Reasons is going to continue here locally in Miami, and actually the new project should benefit 5 Reasons. So we should be in pretty good shape with that. But yeah, I mean, Marco Rubio, I mean, Ira doesn't have as much hair as Marco Rubio.
No, I mean, without the hair, we did qualify that earlier in the program when we mentioned that very same thing. But dead ringer, I think, for Marco Rubio, Ira Winterman. No, I mean, nobody gets into a deeper minutia on the Heat, with possibly the exception of 5 Reasons Sports Network than Winterman, and yet it's somewhat mystifying. I wouldn't qualify this as a bunch of NBA bag ladies, but there were times, especially when you had like Butler, Hero, Adebayo all out of the lineup on the same night, where you're looking at, and you literally you couldn't identify the players with the scorecard because they weren't even listed in the program that night. How on earth is this happening that they're atop the Eastern Conference?
Well, I think it's a couple things. I think obviously Erik Spoelstra deserves enormous credit. I think that the thing that Erik does so well is that he doesn't limit his players. And if you look at what they've done here, all of these guys, when Duncan Robinson's struggling and Max Strus plays, they run the same stuff for Max Strus they run for Duncan Robinson. When Jimmy Butler's out, Caleb Martin plays, they have Caleb do the same kind of stuff that Jimmy does. And, the same lately with Lowry out, they have Vincent do those kind of things. He doesn't pigeonhole players. He gives them a lot of responsibility to try to develop them. It's not just him either. I think that if you take a look at what Adam Simon, Chet Kammerer, Eric Glass, the rest of the organization has done finding these guys. I mean, you have to find them first. You got to find something that you can develop, and they've just done a tremendous job. I mean, you take a look at some of their games. They've had like 3/4 of their points scored by players who were not drafted. Meanwhile, you've got like organizations like Sacramento who are drafting the top 5 every year, and they're 20 games under 500. So it is a testament, I think, to their overall organizational structure, but mostly I think the Spoelstra. And then the one thing I've said about their role players this year is they have alpha role players. The guys who their guys think they're the best player on the floor when they're out there. Caleb Martin was a scorer in college. Max Strus was Paul's best player. Gabe Vincent was the best player on the Nigerian national team. So they're accustomed to being in bigger roles. So when you put them in roles on this team, they've really flourished. I think that the next question is, okay, now you get Hero back tonight. Oladipo is getting closer. Lowry's going through the personal stuff, but he should be back soon. Then what do? You've got 12 playable players, pretty much. And we know that Erik Spoelstra does not play 12. So once you get to the playoffs, it's going to be 9, and sometimes it's going to be 8. So there's going to be some guys that are going to lose minutes here, and I think they'll handle it okay because they're younger guys who kind of owe their careers to the organization. But it is something to watch going forward.
We are talking to the one and only Ethank Skolnick. He is founder, CEO, but also host on 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also great on Twitter, very active and fun and knowledgeable at Ethank J. Skolnick and at 5 Reasons Sports. So it's interesting, Scoop, and you've brought this up a lot on Twitter, and I've noticed it. The Lakers aren't good. A lot of these the Nets have had issues, and they're on the front of SportsCenter every day. The Heat have been good the entire year, haven't had their team the entire year. Miami's usually a lightning rod for media attention, yet for some reason, this team is not getting any. Like, you've covered national NBA, you've covered local. Miami's always at the forefront. Why is this team treated so different? And they have plenty of stars.
They do have stars, but they don't have the kind of stars that ESPN obsesses over. I mean, I think the first thing is, let's just acknowledge it. ESPN has gotten worse, like progressively. Like it's a degenerative disease. Okay, they've gotten to the point. They've gotten to the point where they really only talk about like 4 teams. Okay, in all of sports at this stage. So, I mean, there are other teams in the NBA who've had success this year that they don't know how to talk about. They don't talk about the Phoenix Suns very often.
Yep.
They're not going to talk about Utah. They talked a little bit about Chicago. I don't really think, even though that's a big market, I don't even know if they know how to put that one into perspective. They're just not good anymore. I mean, there are people there. There are individual people. Their best people they don't even feature. People like Legler, Sedano, etc. So it's annoying, I think, as a Heat fan to kind of know that you don't exist to them, that you could be the number 1 seed. I mean, yesterday, it's not just them either. If you watch TNT yesterday, and I know I have Lefko pretty well. I used to work on the feature report, and then you had Shaq on there with Candace Parker and Blaine. And Shaq is sitting there, and he should know better. I mean, he's just down here. He's talking about, well, Brooklyn and LA haven't had their whole teams yet. And there's a clip that's circulating on Twitter where Dwayne's like, wait, hold on, come on. He's like, the Heat haven't had their own team. They're their whole team. They had guys out all year. They're number 1 in the Eastern Conference. Like, that's not an excuse. So I just, it doesn't seem like this team, for whatever reason, there should be talk about the job that Eric's doing. There should be talk about some of these guys who stepped in. But I just don't feel like they want to do the due diligence on the team. It will be interesting in the postseason to see if they start to do it. I think they're going to be a little lead on it. They know Jimmy. They know Tyler. They know Bam a little bit, and that's pretty much it. And then they think that Kyle Lowry is probably paid too much. And that's pretty much all that they've done this year.
Ethank Skolnick, 5 Reasons Sports Network, with us here on the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest, Michael Lubie, Lubitz on on channel. All right, going to leave it with this, Scoop, because this plagues Lubie. He had a voodoo doll of Ryan Tannehill because he had proclaimed for years, and in this business, Scoop, you don't want to be dead wrong about something. I mean, unless you're Mike Francesa and you can just bury the tapes. I didn't say anything about the Jews. What are you talking about? But anyway, and he had condemned Ryan Tannehill, and his big thing was that Ryan Tannehill will never lead you to a Super Bowl, right? Nice cliche, and that's that was the gist and the depth of his sports analysis. He's praying that Tannehill doesn't do it, right? So because he doesn't want to look like a fool. Do you think that Pat Riley loses sleep at night? Because this was another thing that Lubie was a big proponent of, and I can't believe Pat was on board. And does he go to sleep at night with his mouth wide open after realizing he went to Kentucky for not taking Devin Booker in the draft when he took Justice Winslow, who the press seemed to want to make into a good player because we all knew that it was like the Tua Justin Herbert thing. Everybody knew it was a huge organizational blunder.
Well, I think obviously now, with what Devin has become, there clearly was some regret in the organization. I think that if you look at that draft, if you go back to it, that was one of those things where it was almost a shame that Justice fell because they didn't really have Justice on their radar that much because they didn't think he'd be there at 10.
Nor should they have.
You know, he thought well,
He's
right.
Go top
They
5.
thought, I mean, they thought he was top 5 pick. They actually thought a guy like Stanley Johnson was going to fall. There was someone. They did due diligence on Booker, and they might have taken him, but Justice was there. I think the regret at the time was not so was not so much Booker. It was not taking all the picks for Justice that Danny Ainge offered. And Pat went to others inside that room and said, look, you guys always want picks. You want to take this deal. And they said no. And so they took the player. I think that now as you look at it, look, Devin Booker is, obviously a top 10 scorer in the league, and he's on a team that's leading the West and went to the finals. So, I mean, it's hard to smooth it over. But I think as you look at it, with what they've done after, they've made up for a lot of it. Kyler is not Devin Booker, but again, he's a Kentucky product who's a reasonably close facsimile who's still growing. And then I think if you look at some of the other things they've done, it's kind of like, the KZ Akpala move, right? Like that was really a Pat move to trade 3 second-round picks to take KZ Akpala. And you can regret it and say, well, okay, he hasn't really worked out. But when you get Caleb Martin on a 2-way contract, it's kind of like, okay, well, we made up for that one. And I just think they've been incredibly resourceful at finding players lately that has made up for some of the poor moves. They are the only team in the league, guys. They're the only, and now this will change when Phil comes back because he's the number 2 overall pick. But they're the only team in the league right now that has not used a top 12 draft pick this year. Only one. Tyler Hero was 13th.
Yeah.
Bam was 14th. Jimmy was 30th. Kyle Lowry, I think, was 25th. The rest of the team, I believe, was all second-round picks or undrafted. So they have been able to find players in a way that, you make a big mistake, yes, but it's not like the Dolphins. The Dolphins make a big mistake, and they can't make up for it because they've made so many other mistakes. The Heat can't.
Yep.
Well, and that's, under the auspices of something that I've often had to remind myself of. We all make mistakes, and it happens. So you certainly didn't make any mistake starting out on your own there, Scoop Skolnick. Congratulations on all your success, and we thank you so much for stopping by here on Ion Channel and the Defo Show and on your own network, as a matter of fact. So
yes,
you're guesting on your own network, which is always a highlight of anybody
he's on like every show.
that sets out to work on their own. Thanks for being with us, my friend.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Scoop.
All right. Isn't that right? He's a guest on his own network. They're the
Yeah,
Carrier
well,
Show
you
on
can hear
5 Reasons.
the more South Florida focus, because that's what they focus on.
Yeah.
Everyday stuff goes right to 5 Reasons. So we have our own playlist, the Defo Show, and we're happy
Are
here.
we still on there? Yeah, it's still going?
Yesterday, not every day like it's supposed to be.
Oh,
but
not every day. All right.
we are there. I get them stuff every day, and we work. It's a skeleton crew, just like we deal with. They do their best over there at 5 Reasons, but you can find us here on Ion and also 5 Reasons, and of course, on Believe.
And Google the Defo Show. All right, coming back with Tony Segreto, going old school with Tony. We cut a little bit into Tony's time. I apologize for that, but he's going to be coming our way, and it's brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants and Catholic Health Services. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He is Mike Lubitz, and we'll be back with more here on Ion Channel in a moment with Tony. Now that
The time.
It's 8:04.
It's the Gambling Gourmet for Cafe Seville in Fort Lauderdale. It's one of my favorite places. It is old school joint that's serving Spanish and classic continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly setting. It's at 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. They're open every day except Sunday for dinner, starting at 5 p.m. You go in there, you see Joey and his better half, Sally. They are giving the greatest in service. And the food, oh my gosh, it's paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, stuffed veal chop. They serve this great, fantastic, warm sourdough bread. Go to Cafe Seville in Fort Lauderdale and tell them that the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapists, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place. And that one place is Catholic Health Services.
What we're going to do right here is go back, way back into time.
We are now kicking it old school with the one and only Tony Segreto, brought to you by Catholic Health Services and Texas Roadhouse.
Well, once again, everybody, great to be with you here on the Defo Show on Ion Channel. I'm Jeff Deforrest, along with Mike Lubitz, and it's always a pleasure on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock to welcome to the program one of the real greats, a giant in the broadcasting industry here locally, internationally, and just a great guy. He's on virtually every college committee that you could possibly be on. If you're pledging a fraternity, you have to go through Tony Segreto. We welcome him for a little old school. Tony, how are you, my friend? Good to see you.
I am doing fabulous. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about this when you just said, every Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock. How conditioned are we? For how many years did we do our show on Thursday?
Thursday, I was going to say.
Yes.
So do you know that all day today, it's been this way now, even since we started this. All day today, I'll think it's Thursday. All day, I'll think it's Thursday because I did the radio show today, or I did our show today. So
that's a byproduct of old age too, Tony, and maybe the fact that your brain might be frozen there, like that knish I had this morning. 2 minutes in the microwave, 2 in the toaster oven, just to get it ready to go. But it has to be. It has to be cold in Vermont. Are you kidding me? I'm looking at blizzards everywhere.
Yeah. We that's actually we're doing some work in the studio, so I moved some things around, and I'm thankful that I did because it's right now my weather station. It's 5 degrees.
5 degrees. All right.
5 degrees. With the wind chill is about 10 below. So.
Perfect. Perfect temperatures.
It's perfect to snuggle. It's a perfect snuggling day.
Yeah. Go outside and have a barbecue or something like that.
Exactly.
All right.
So I want to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
I want to ask you a question. Okay, because I know you've probably have out-talked this already about the great weekend. Probably I don't know about you, Defo, but I don't remember a weekend that you and I have been through where we've seen 4 games come down to like they came down. I mean, it was remarkable. But here's my question.
That seems to be universal. Everybody has. I mean, and it's not uncommon for whatever the latest exciting thing that happened was, or whatever the latest album is that's out by a band or a movie by somebody that you admire, and you're saying, wow, that's the greatest of all time. I've never seen anything like it. But I think essentially that was true. I would agree with you 100% on that. Never quite seen anything like it.
There was not one game. I mean, the only game that you would have thought that was out of hand was the and here's another thing. I think Matt Stafford, I think Lions. So I'm thinking Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
But, the Rams game.
Well, he looked like he was with the Lions in that game at the end. Not so
Yeah,
much him,
exactly.
but the rest of the team.
Exactly. But so you thought if there was any one game that was out of hand, you thought that was it. And then all of a sudden, here comes Chris Collingsworth, genuflecting in front of Tom Brady, and then Tom Brady, kind of doing his thing. But here's my point.
Yeah.
And I asked this of my son last night. So we had this conversation, and I said to him, watching those 4 games, 8 teams, could the Dolphins compete with any of those teams at the level that they were playing with on Sunday?
My answer to that would be an obvious and resounding no. I mean,
with capital letters,
league.
With capital letters and an exclamation point.
Look at the quarterback play. You're not going to get anything close to that out of Tua. Maybe in his career.
No.
You thought maybe he had that kind of spark when he threw that touchdown pass in the national championship game in relief of Jalen Hurts. A spectacular play, and you thought, well, maybe this kid has that kind of magic, but it's not in evidence yet. And the quarterbacks, with the exception of Tannehill, much to Lubie's delight, all were spectacular, and the light years ahead of where we're at that position.
Yeah. When you see Matt Stafford, here, what an arm this guy has. Still has it. Still can do it. And the other thing I was saying is you could tell a guy like Matt Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, in particular, right? They were, drafted as baseball players, and Defo, you can really appreciate this like I can. These guys can change their angles, their throwing angles like that.
Yes.
I mean, it takes nothing. They're being rushed. Boom. They'll give them a little sidearm. Boom. They'll do it a different way. They'll whatever they have to do. And I was just, it was captivating. It was reality TV at its best.
A lot of fun. I mean, that game on Sunday night was so exhilarating. We pop into the sack a little bit early, especially on a Sunday, because we do experience literally a peel yourself off the mat Monday when we come together to do the show, 7 a.m. on the East Coast here. So you got to get up like 5:30. And I was so exhilarated after that game. I couldn't sleep. I wanted to see more. It was like a great movie that ends and the credits go up and you're thinking, wow, I wish it was longer, or a great fight that you would like to see extended. Just fantastic. Now, we had this, Tony, and I want to get your opinion on this, because the more I think about it, it makes more and more sense to me with each passing moment. And I know they'll never do this because it doesn't have like the whole impact of starting the game all over again. But I believe the solution to the hideous unfairness of the overtime setup and the parameters of overtime in the NFL, where a team scores a touchdown like that against a gassed-out defense because they got the ball via a coin flip, and the other guy never gets a crack at the field. I think all of the questions about fairness and equity are answered if you just continue the game from the exact point it was at when it ended. In other words, you're going to overtime, so you're really just extending time.
That's a great idea.
Now it becomes sudden death, but if the team had the ball at midfield and it was a 3rd and 5, you pick up the action with the team that had the ball 3rd and 5 at midfield. And so the game that's been played to that point doesn't just get erased completely, and a whole new ball game under different circumstances, cockamamie as they are, gets underway.
Agreed. And it's funny you say that, because I think you're absolutely spot on right. And isn't that the way we played on the playground? If there was
like,
a tie,
hey, next score wins.
I've done that. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the way to do it. It certainly would change the strategy of an end of the game that's tight, right?
Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, you would want to be in a favorable position, I guess.
But how many of us really wanted to see Josh Allen get that ball back? I mean, just to see if he could do it again. And it's funny. You change when you're doing what we did for so long. You don't let people know who you're rooting for, who you're not rooting for. And, this was a tough one because I really love Andy Reid. I really love Patrick Mahomes and what they stand for. But goodness me, I love Buffalo. And I just wanted that town to be celebrating. And then the other part of me was, yeah, but if that means they get to the championship or the Super Bowl, they could be losing 5 in a row.
Yeah, but I don't find that such a negative distinction, because you had they made it to 4 straight Super Bowls. The fact that they lost them all, it's unfortunate where the mentality in almost all of sports, and this has been for a long time, and
absolutely,
our mutual buddy Eddie Kaplan used to say, you win, you're great, you lose, you stink.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. I mean, there's nothing so negative. I know, everybody would would be opposed to having a participation trophy or whatever. But you know what? You got there. You had to be pretty good, to put yourself in that position.
Exactly.
No disgrace in necessarily losing.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I'm excited. Here's the thing. You say to yourself, it was so good this past weekend. How good could it be on Sunday? How much better?
It's going to be good for me. I'll be watching it in a sports book in Las Vegas, possibly, a wide open space like the Mirage where the people will be yelling and screaming.
We'll have to talk before
it's great to be in atmospheres like that. And it's almost as good, as being at the game because you can bet horses while it's taking place.
Yeah, we'll have to chat before before the game. So if there's something we could do, you could help me out.
I wanted to get into who you like, but you know what? I have to backtrack a little bit here. Because I was with a mutual friend of ours. I think you're, have worked maybe at one time or another with my buddy Mike Fernandez, who is a big-time guy with Bally Sports, and their technical advisory oversees everything, Heat, Panthers, Marlins. I mean, he is the man. And so we're driving back from a thing that we did yesterday, and he tells me how much he despises Buffalo. And that's from his days of traveling with the Miami Dolphins, where he was doing all these Dolphin magazine shows.
Yeah.
And, you may have been on that bus where they threw the bottle through the window.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Did you get on the team bus when you were leaving these ball games, Tony?
In fact, when they threw the bottle through the window,
these are the Buffalo fans we're talking about.
Yeah. The window that was broken was the one, and that was the seat in front of me.
Nice.
Where the window was broken. And that's where Wayne's son was sitting.
Yes. And that's what Mike was saying.
Wayne's son was sitting. There were people actually, the buses were so close together. The team buses, our buses, were so close together. I mean, literally, the end kissing the beginning, because the traffic was difficult getting out, that people had climbed on top of the buses and they could walk from bus to bus as if it were a walkway and pounding on the bus. Yeah. Throwing all different things.
It's like a scene out of Con Air or something.
It was incredible. I just, the fans of Buffalo, they are, we hear about the fans at Lambeau, and I've been there in the winter, and the fans in Minnesota, and I've been there in the winter. But goodness me, those fans in Buffalo, they take their tailgating, regardless whether it's summer or winter, to a whole new level. I mean, they do all three meals, and then they do an after party.
But having witnessed firsthand and nearly being victimized physically by this absolutely unjustifiably horrid fan behavior, you still are able to root for the Buffalo Bills in that spot. So, I had a small monetary interest in the Kansas City Chiefs in my personal bookmaking venture that I have with my buddy Francesco. And he went 0 for 4 on the weekend, which was good for me because he was killing me all season long. Now 2-8 in the postseason against the point spread, even with his shaved point spreads that are not nearly as generous as those you're getting from your own individual bookmaker. But outside of that, either team really, is one of those games where it was easy to cheer for either team that ended up winning that game.
Yeah. I felt that way too. I mean, we were having a family conversation as to who wanted who, and my daughter wanted Buffalo, and on and on. It's just so you sit there going, you know what, you don't care. You don't want to say you don't care because you do care, but whatever team wins, we just want a great game, and boy, did we get that, and that's really all we can ask. And then we can dream about, do you think the Dolphins will ever be there? And that dream is a distant dream for sure.
All right, so you would not be inclined to say this wouldn't be a Tony Segreto type of position to take, but our position on the program is that in reality, Buffalo is a shithole of a town. But
yeah.
I mean, in a million years, you couldn't convince me to move my tack, as the jockeys would say, to Buffalo and start driving harness horses at Batavia.
Yeah, it's a place for hardy people and hardy folk, and you have to live that kind.
Fools is what you're saying, Tony.
It's tough this time of year up there. It's tough. Listen.
Well, and this is spoken by a guy who just walked outside in 5-degree and minus 15 wind chill, like you were crossing Lambeau.
It's much different here. I mean, these are wide open spaces. I live in the woods with like 2 or 3 homes on a road, and you're surrounded by farms and
very peaceful existence.
It's extremely peaceful. There's no light pollution. There's no noise pollution. When you live out here, you go to the farm and pick up your eggs
Could you grow your own weed in the backyard and nobody would care?
Pretty
How does that
much
work?
everybody does. It's pretty much.
Yeah, it's not like you have a drug dealer at the 7-Eleven that you can go see in the parking lot.
There
Right?
are very few gardens here that don't have that.
Oh yeah, all right, good.
But I will tell you this: we have
the sweet waft of marijuana. You know, I don't know if it has an aroma when it's growing, but
we have
you know,
a guy who
does.
lives. We have a guy who lives down the very end of this dirt road that we're on.
He's sending up smoke signals.
Completely off. He's completely off the grid. Completely off the grid.
Really?
What kind of guy is he? Is he sending out anthrax? And
here's the thing.
sealed
No,
bottles?
no. This guy could be a model. He's a big dude. He's got this manicured beard. He's as handsome as could be. Nicest guy. Does his own maple syrup, but he built his own cabin. He's all solar. He's got his potbelly stove, and he is off the grid.
So it's not a heavily Jewish populated neighborhood, is what you're saying. I mean, Lubie and I are not building our own log cabin, Tony.
You could.
No, I couldn't. I couldn't even begin to think about it. I can barely flush the toilet. What are you talking about?
When Seinfeld and Costanza were talking about the cabin that had just burned down, and George goes to Jerry, it's a log cabin. You and I could build a log cabin. And Jerry flips on says, well, maybe not you and I, but two other guys could.
The more I think, as we've transitioned into other things, but you got me coming back to this question. They're far away, so far away. It's Carole King on the Miami Dolphins from being in Adelaide. And that's a good barometer to take a look at any team that you root for. And you see as their playoffs, dissolve down to, say, in this case, 4 teams left. And look, the Dolphins could have been in a position that they blew the tanking, or they might have had Joe Burrow throwing the rock for him.
Right. Yep. Here's the thing. I thought at the end of Ethan's conversation, he says something that I think we all should understand, that making a mistake, we all make mistakes.
Yes.
But if you continue in the world of sports to make the mistakes that the Dolphins made, that it's so difficult to overcome those mistakes because there's so many of them. And if you make enough of them, one good answer, one good draft is not going to help you. You need to do it over and over again. You need to change the culture. I mean, look at the Giants. They're interviewing Brian Flores. Everybody believes in this guy. And
you know what? The lean seems to be they're going to end up with this Dayball, the offensive coordinator of the Bills, because they hired the Bills assistant GM to be their GM. That was a speculation.
So shall we
today.
look back at
very heavy? Yeah.
All I'm saying,
Flores might get a job though. There are now 8 job openings. Can you believe that?
Listen, you all do your own research, but let's look and see. Shall we look up where Dabo's been and
Dayball?
Should we look that up and see if this is the best guy for us? Or
I want Daboll. I just don't know if the Dolphins.
And why do you want Dabo?
Well, unlike other people, I'm all in on Tua. I want to see Tua given an actual shot.
He worked with Tua too at Alabama, right?
He was Tua's offensive coordinator at Alabama. His first year there, Tua's first.
So
year.
you're bringing a coach in for one player.
Yes, they do it all the time.
You might need that. I mean, if you look at the Dolphins' problems, Tony, I think you can agree that they have whiffed on an entire. They've whiffed on an entire wing of Hall of Fame quarterbacks at one time or another. I mean, you can track it. I mean, Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, they could have had. They might have been able to. You can't really blame them. On the Burrow thing, because they ended up winning a few games that year. Justin Herbert looks light years ahead of. Where Tua could ever be after a couple of seasons in the league.
Agreed. No, I agree.
Aaron Rodgers, they could have drafted. I mean,
I wasn't asking the question as if I doubted you. I'm just asking you, can you back that up? Do you believe that that's okay to bring a guy in for one player?
I don't know. I don't think that's the reason. Look at Buffalo's offense and what he did with Josh Allen. I mean, you would have to say that he is.
Josh Allen's talent helped that a little bit.
But it helps to be in the right situations and know how to be utilized, which Dayball seemed to. Really make the most of what this guy's abilities were. A lot of people thought that he was too raw of a talent and too erratic to ever develop into this type of dynamic force.
Well, I'm ambivalent about this one right now.
Well, who do you want to see, Tony Segreto? I mean,
right now, Here's it. I'm looking at the overall picture.
All right. Who fits?
The whole picture, not just Tua.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see if we need to have someone come in and bring some stability, some reason to this organization. I'm looking, maybe we bring in someone who's had like a Todd Bowles. I'm not saying him, for example, but I'm just saying someone who could just kind of set the culture, who brings in brilliant offensive and defensive coordinators, young guys who can be innovative and set a foundation and move the team in the right direction. I'm not saying that he's the guy, and I'm not saying that Dable isn't the guy. I want to be purposeful. We're doing this every 3 years, and every 3 years we're getting a setback because it takes time to overcome all of those things. We set a new culture, get a new.
Hey, look, I mean, speaking of all making mistakes, look how many teams are making the same mistakes. And they're all the ones, not necessarily
not nearly as bad as ours. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants have been in this situation.
Yeah,
they've had 3 coaches now in 6 years, and they're about to hire another one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and they're one of those stable organizations that everybody looks to and says, well, the Maras, I mean, what they're doing. All right, we have to tell people about Texas Roadhouse. You talk about stable organizations, man. They have a stable of restaurants that are just unbelievable.
Yeah, and well put. Texas Roadhouse, hence stable. I get it. I get the reference. But we do the commercials here, and we go, where are you going to go for dinner? And that's where I think we should that should be top of mind all the time. Texas Roadhouse. Why? You could go pick it up, take it home, and feel like you're right at the restaurant. You can go there with your family. You can go there with your wife or husband or a significant other. You can go there by yourself if you're running late and the kids are out at soccer and your wife's got them or he's got them and she needs a place to go eat. You can feel comfortable. Their culture's amazing. Their food always consistent. Coldest beer in town, best margaritas in town. And I promise you, regardless of whether you're on a low-carb diet or not, when you go there, you're off that low-carb diet because once you walk in and smell that bread and get that honey butter and it comes nice and warm to your table, what more could you possibly want, right?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of restaurants don't even offer like a bread service, as they call it, and you're sitting there like starving, and you're thinking, my kingdom for a piece of bread here. I'll take a piece of Wonder Bread, anything, man. Just give me that with a pat of butter that you can't even spread. Yeah.
And if you want something really special, then you order the Defo special, and that's those baked sweet potatoes with the marshmallows on them. Is there anything better? I just think for me. Going to Texas Roadhouse means I'm going to be comfortable. I'm going to get consistent food. It's going to be really, really, really good food. They make it all there, and the price is always going to be not just reasonable, but more than reasonable.
Well, and depending, my bankroll may also come into consideration in this, but I was so happy when Ed said they have Texas Roadhouse locations in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, you need to go.
Why get ripped off at some place like Craft Steak at the MGM Grand where it's like $200 for a burger?
Could not agree with you more.
Well, you could go to Texas Roadhouse, have a better meal, and come back and still have money to gamble with. It's absolutely fantastic.
That's the other thing. We never talk about this, but if you've never had a burger from Texas Roadhouse, you are missing something special. Their burgers are out of sight. So
they know their thing. When it comes to the meats, I mean, you can tell right away. We missed Ed on the show today because his enthusiasm always makes me hungry for Texas Roadhouse food. But you've done a fine job of the very same.
Listen, all I'm saying to you is that there's nothing better than their lip smacking ribs.
Those are great, man.
They're thick burgers. They're fresh cut steaks. They're baked potatoes. Their bread. I am telling you.
I like when Lubie used to take like 3 racks of ribs home from the radio station when they used to bring food in there. Go,
they're not all for me. They're not all for me. My nephew's in town.
They weren't all for me.
And you knew that was bullshit because he was going to eat them all in the car on the way, and you just hoped he had enough napkins not to get the sauce all over the steering wheel.
Lubie's 18, and he's got a 37-year-old nephew.
All right, more with Tony. There's a lot more to discuss here, and we'll get your thoughts on what's coming up this weekend with the games. I wanted to dive in because you've covered a lot of Olympic games about this year's Winter Olympics, which are right around the corner.
I'm very
excited. Get your thoughts on that. Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people are upset that the games are taking place in China, where they still haven't found this tennis player, have they?
No.
I mean, what is her name? Feng Shui, something like that? No, that's a form of art. But not demean the situation at all, because it seems very tragic that a woman has like completely disappeared. And they've had some, I guess maybe they photoshopped a couple of pictures of her out having a good time, but no one's heard from her. It's crazy. So and all the other stuff that goes on there, right, outside of the manufacturing of sneakers, but many people upset about China's obviously inhumane situation. So all right, curious to see what you feel about that. Back with more in a moment. Now that
The time.
it's 8:30.
Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
Hey, it's Mike Mayo for Even Keel Fish Shack, corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard at Lauderdale by the Sea. It's my favorite place now for great seafood in a casual beachfront setting. They've got happy hour 4 to 7 Monday through Friday. They've got great dishes like grilled oysters and oysters on the half shell, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, octopus. They also have burgers and chicken for those who don't like the seafood. They're open 7 days a week for a lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack. Go say hi to Dave and Brad and tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
Recently we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side?
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen. All right, one thing that I love about you, Tony, and we discovered this over time, although it took a while to kind of realize what the heck was really going on there. As distinguished as you are, and as many people as you deal with your various committees that you're on, Orange Ball, this, that, boards of trustees of universities, deep inside, I mean, lurks. I don't know that it's a sick degenerate, but there is a degenerate nature, and nobody loves college football. I believe next to women's softball, college football is really the most passionate sport that you're all about, Tony Segreto. Is that not correct?
I love it. I love it. Let's say we talk about being the intelligent degenerate, the one who doesn't say it out loud, but
those are mutually exclusive,
like,
my
that's
friend.
a thing?
There is no intelligent degenerate. If you're a degenerate, you've already shown a lack of intelligence or intellect.
Defo and Lubie love Kicking It Old School with the legendary Tony Segreto.
All right, welcome back to the show, the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz, Ion Channel, Jack Namer's Fine Group. And I know, Tony, you would want to pass along, it was a couple of days ago, birthday wishes to the great Jack Namer, who is one of a kind, as you well know.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
You've always been a big fan and, doing some fine things for us here. 2022 going to be a very, very good year. It's all on the upswing here.
He's been great. This is a great format for us, I think, and I tell people about it, and I got more and more people tuning in. They want to see us. They want to see everybody. So it's pretty.
Is Liz in Seattle? She plugged into this thing?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to get a hold of Liz. But speaking of that, listen, I wanted to bring something up really, really, really quick.
All right.
For those of you, maybe none of you have heard this, but there's been some word going on around what the health of Hank Goldberg.
Yes,
and
I had a guy, actually a fan, put that up on my Facebook page. The article out of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. So I had an article about Hank, and he seems to be trying to overcome it all.
He is. He really is. I was on the phone with him yesterday. I was on the phone with him on Friday, and we have really good conversations, and his attitude is really good, and he's really strong. And his sister Liz, that's what made me think of it. His sister Liz is right by his side the whole time, and she too is. They're upbeat. They're doing everything they can. He's got a battle, but God bless him. He wants to say hello to everybody, and he's still Hank. I called him yesterday. I said, "How you doing?" He goes, "I have a beautiful nurse in here right now taking care of me." I go, "Okay, well, I'll hang up." So Hank, nice. It was it was just so Hank. So I know that you guys would want to know, and I just wanted to bring that out. So for those of you, just keep Hank Goldberg in your prayers. He's a dear friend of mine and dear friend of all of ours, and meant a lot to South Florida.
A big fan of the show, a gentleman named Kenneth Rosenbaum, who's always on top of things and picks up on a lot of the somewhat, subtle indiscretions that we take here on the program, where we might mention a horse that's live that we've been waiting for 6 months. He was on top of that. Glenn County, when we were waiting for that one to run, and came back at a nice hefty 1680. And he put the article up for us about Hank and what he'd gone through. But he was going through this for a while. And I'm hoping to see him. I was going to try and give him a call. I'm glad you said that you were in touch with him, because I don't know if he's up to having visitors, but
I don't know where he stands on that, but
probably doesn't want to go running out to a casino right now and meet us while we're plunging on the horses. Is that what you're thinking?
Probably not.
All right, I got one for you, Tony. And this is right up your alley with your international connections and all of your experience as an announcer. And I love all forms of announcing and have great respect for many announcers that I grew up listening to, and you could go old school and say, oh yeah, it's never going to be like it was. And it probably isn't. And I love that when I watched the Winter Olympics, I would have had very little interest in the figure skating portion of it outside of just hearing somebody pronounce the name of the Protopopovs. And that was for Leslie Visser, because I wasn't able to think of a way to work King Lear into this conversation. But especially
you just did.
Well, I mean, see, that's me. That's how we work it here. But anyway, I don't think any announcer. I mean, Dick Vitale was to college basketball later on. What Dick Button was to making figure skating like something really riveting and compelling.
Yeah,
whether you liked it or not. I mean, even if you thought, man, I mean, isn't there like boxing in the Winter Olympics? Don't they box in the wintertime? But and you're watching figure skating and pairs figure skating and all of this crazy stuff, and nobody made it more exciting than this guy, Dick Button.
Yeah, he sold it as well as you could sell it. He brought. I think what you're saying is this. He already had the figure skating fan, the mother, the father, whatever. He had them in the barn. They were there.
And it was like 8 guys. I mean,
what he did was he took people who didn't care and he put them in the barn too, where they had to build a big barn, because he brought people like you and me and others in, because he made it interesting. He was. I totally agree with you. He was. It's just what Al did. What Al did for hockey, Button did for figure skating, and they were guys and announcers that just did that. Mel Allen, Vin Scully, whether you were a baseball fan or not, their storytelling, their voice, the way they used their voice.
Yeah, I grew up on Mel, man. He was my all-time favorite.
When I got to work with Mel Allen, I was.
You
I
worked
was
with
like,
Mel Allen? Wow.
Yeah, I was like, do you know that he?
On This Week in Baseball? Were you doing that?
No, he did. He did University of Miami football games for a couple of years.
Mel Allen. Wow.
Allen?
That's a great trivia question.
And it was. Man, I mean, you talk about being like Ralph Cramden, like hamana. I can't talk because I'm around Mel Allen. It's like that was the holy grail right there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he was jealous.
This guy was
Mel Allen right there with Mel Brooks.
He wanted me. When I was a young boy. One of the commercials they would have, one of the sponsors they would have for the Yankees was Ballantine.
Oh yeah, baseball and Ballantine. He was brilliant at that.
I wanted a Ballantine beer. I didn't even know what alcohol was, but
it tasted like shit. Actually,
so good. Yeah,
Schaefer and Rheingold actually were better than Ballantine, which tasted like cat urine. It was a horrible beer.
But to your point, when you have people like that, when you have the Dick Buttons of the world, like that, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I probably once the Olympics start. Listen, I love the Olympics. It's
what's your favorite? I mean, mine is obviously the biathlon, a crazy Meshuggah event which combines cross country skiing and rifle shooting.
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah, no.
Where the guy's he's on skis and got the rifle there, and you're thinking, what is this? Some Russian war movie? Where they're about to get wiped out. Hey, Napoleon, I don't think we should go. Right? It's cold out there. And they're skiing and they stop and just do some target shooting.
Did someone bring the schnapps? Where's the schnapps? I want my schnapps now.
How come they don't have Iditarod races in the Winter Olympics? I mean, that's not exclusionary to the Eskimo population, which is no longer known as Eskimos. I guess.
I love the luge. I love
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, no, I love that stuff.
I used to love speed skating because we were at like Bonnie Blair, and then what was it?
Speed skating. I like. Didn't you always want to I couldn't skate. I can't ice skate. Worth a darn. I broke my wrist the one time I tried it, but you wanted to go out there on that track, right?
Oh my God! The way the track is groomed, and then you sit there and you see their thighs.
Oh my God! Yeah.
And I look at my thighs and I go,
Williams.
Where did I go wrong? What happened here?
Dusty Rhodes didn't have thighs that thick.
My gosh! It was
professional wrestler.
I have to tell you, being up here in Vermont.
It's got to be big there.
This is a big.
Are there any Vermont skiers going to be?
Yeah, we have Vermont has like 8 athletes.
Oh yeah, nice.
In the games, yeah.
That's the one thing they're good at because it's always colder. That's great.
Pretty much. They just had they just actually had the ski jumping trials in Lake Placid.
Oh, nice.
So
ski jumping is something that would take. I mean, as I said, not a lot of Jewish guys. You don't see the Israeli ski jumper.
All I know is, to me, I was telling my daughter that I think it's.
Here's Moish Schwartz from Israel, and he's got 212 to eclipse. No, you're not seeing that, man. That's a tough
love
sport.
The Winter Games. I love the Winter Games more than I love the Summer Games. I love them both.
You really do. I'm a big Summer Games fan. I'm a track and field guy.
Yeah, I love the boxing. I love the boxing and all.
Boxing is kind of diminished in its luster in Olympic competition for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's guys turn pro or whatever, but you don't think of it as much as you used to. When you had to have a start. I mean, Cosell made Olympic boxing, and with Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean, he became enamored with the name Sugar Ray Leonard, and that whole Olympic Games. That's all you heard about was Sugar Ray Leonard.
And it was great. Cosell would sell it. Dick Button would sell it.
Button's breathless anticipation of a triple sow cow. I mean, who knows what a triple sow cow is? Exactly. What are the components that go into a triple sow cow? How did they name it a triple sow cow? And yet he would just anticipate triple sow cow coming up, and you'd be like, "Whoa, he did it!" Or the guy would splatter all over the ice, and you would hear the moans. I mean, you actually, the guy brought you into the feeling of the emotion of this whole thing, and then there was obviously a lot of emotion because win or lose, the person that's sitting there in the booth there is always in tears.
I want you to think about the mentality of these athletes, the work, the effort, the will that they have to get to that moment. And that moment, whatever it is, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, is going to determine whether they get that gold medal that they've worked for years. I mean, we're not talking a year or two. We're talking years beyond years.
Yeah.
Or not. To me, that athlete who can walk away, regardless of the medal. I mean, I know they all want the gold, but to be one of those athletes, those elite, to get to that point, to me, I just have the greatest respect for every one of those athletes who are on that stage, whether it's winter or summer games, to be able to compete like that at that level. I think it's pretty darn special. I mean, we talk about quarterbacks, we talk about pitchers and first basemen and centers and strong forwards and shooting guards and all of this. But man, oh man, these folks, they're pretty darn special. They're pretty special.
Man,
I don't know if you
downhill,
agree with me or not.
If the track is slick and the guy's doing the downhill alpine skiing, oh my God.
The scariest
I mean,
thing.
everybody ends up in splinters. You have to have some serious guts to do some of those events. I mean, you have to be crazy to go out and play outside in a winter like that anyway, Tony. If anybody would know that, it's you. I mean, up there in the frozen tundra of Vermont. All right, we have to run. We have some things to cover. But it's interesting. No, I like sports stories like you do, and like Lubie does, and naturally Leslie Visser covered a lot of Olympic games, and the stories that emerge are kind of out of the center focus of the sporting world, where every night you're getting the highlights of LeBron, which is fine. But I mean, I like these kind of stories. That they always interested me. So I like to see them develop in the games.
One of the best stories, one of the most memorable stories I did covering the Olympics was in '84 at the LA Games. The official Olympic painter for the game was a guy named Ernie Barnes.
Okay.
And Ernie Barnes played defense. If I believe
what happened to Leroy Neiman, man?
Ernie Barnes was the painter, and I believe he was a defensive lineman for the San Diego Chargers for many years.
Oh yeah, okay, that's a cool
and then
story.
Became this artist. But his artwork. Do you recall the television show with J.J. Walker? What was the name of that show?
Good Times.
Good Times.
Yeah.
If you recall the opening scene of that show, there were all of these paintings of these elongated athletes doing different things or whatever. That was Ernie Barnes.
Oh yeah, nice.
That was his stuff.
Abstract mind there. He must have smoked a lot of weed down there in San Diego.
Yeah. Well, so I interviewed him. Remarkable interview, remarkable story as an athlete and why he became this painter and his love for the Olympics. And to this day, I have his paintings, some of which are hanging in my daughter's apartment, some of which are hanging in my son's apartment. Yeah, and it just brings back with his signature on them. One of the greatest stories I ever.
You want to unload a couple on the show here?
I mean, I'll
sell a couple. Yeah. Put one up in the background.
Did we ever sell those T-shirts? I've been vaccinated.
No, I got no takers on that.
Fully vaccinated.
None, zero.
Nobody
not
called. Yeah, I still have the whole box.
I still want mine.
I did want to say this. Just another quick aside. Of course, Jimmy Walker, JJ, of Good Times, was a vendor at Shea Stadium when I was selling souvenirs.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was in the the food concessions there, but he was a vendor at Shea, and he used to take command of the there was like a locker room where everybody changed, the vendors, and Jimmy would stand up there and have everybody cracking up for like a half hour before the game. Yeah. It's kind of like you could see that this guy was going to be successful as a comic. Very funny guy.
I know we have commercials to get to, but here's my question when we come back.
Yeah.
Since you worked at stadiums and such a baseball fan, as am I, and love baseball.
Oh yeah, with Ortiz, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We'll get into
that. What is your favorite? And first of all, do you like hot dogs? And if you do, what is your favorite?
Oh wow,
stadium hot dog.
I have two answers for that, but tell us about Catholic Health Services, because what a dynamite organization these guys are, and whatever it is that your medical needs may be, whether it's rehab, especially from a stroke, or any kind of family medical matter, you should contact Catholic Health Services at the very least to get their advice about what to do, because they really take deep pride in every patient's care, and they do just a great job. It's hard to have enough hyperbole to describe exactly how good of a company this is.
You just hit the hot button issue I was going to talk about today, advice.
Yeah.
Because we could talk about all of their great things that they do from a rehab standpoint and what they did for your mom. Pardon me. But when you watch TV today or listen to the radio, you're inundated. They're telling you what's wrong with you. You've got everything you could possibly
Yeah, I thought I had
want.
autism from just listening to a couple of
I'm
commercials.
telling you, it's crazy. There's all these things. What's wrong? You got high blood pressure, you got low blood pressure, you got this and that. This one's bothering you. This is bothering you. You go on the internet, this is a sign that your liver's dying. This is a sign that this is happening. It's like, oh my goodness gracious,
Yeah.
what is going on here?
Don't eat broccoli, Tony. Don't eat broccoli, by the way.
Yeah, don't eat broccoli. Don't eat cauliflower. Don't have fish today. This wasn't caught with a pole. It was caught with a net. Don't eat it.
There you go.
The point I'm saying here is this: Catholic Health Services is here in our community for a reason. They're not here only to help you when you get injured or when you have surgery. They're here to help you before that happens. Yeah. They're here to advise you. They're here to guide you. They have people there who are willing to take the time and spend that time with you to tell you how to stay healthy, how to stay, what you need to do. As we get older, we tend to lose our balance a little bit. Why is that? Because we lose the strength of our core. How do you strengthen your core? We're going to help you. We're going to tell you. We're going to tell you where to go. We're going to make these things better for you so you can live a more quality type of life, a more healthy type of life, and a life where, hopefully you don't have to come and see us. And that's what this is about, because we can go anywhere, like I've said before, over and over again, and get that rehab with the best facility in terms of the machines and all of that. But you're not going to get the service. You're not going to get that personal touch. You're not going to get that family involvement that you get from Catholic Health Services each and every time you go there, call them, or ask them for advice. Please, when I tell you, take this. For those of you who have parents, grandparents, whatever, tell them about it. Call them for them, and ask the questions that they need to be asked, and you'll get the good answers.
All right. The answer to Tony's hot dog mystery coming up here as we continue and wrap things up on Old School with Tony Segreto, brought to you by Catholic Health Services and also Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. Ed Garcia would be a good guy to ask about the hot dog, stadium hot dog. Mike Lubitz has certainly scarfed down plenty of those. So have I all around the country. Maybe not as many places as you have, Tony. So we'll come back and wrap it up with that in a moment. Now that. It's 8:53.
Hey there, it's Mike Mayo. Do you like steaks? Do you like seafood? Do you like classic old Florida charm? You could get that all and more at Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of 95. The Studiali family, they've been running the place a long time. It's been there more than 70 years. And it is now a place you can get early bird specials along with steaks to take home and throw on the grill yourself at the Butcher Shop. That's open 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. It's open for dinner every night starting at 4:30, but they are closed on Sundays. Go to Tropical Acres. It's a place to go for a great meal, great people, good value. Tropical Acres.
The championship meet is right around the corner at Gulfstream Park. The only place for live racing, Gulfstream's action has never been hotter. Whether it's on the track, in the casino, or part of the dining and entertainment offered at the Village of Gulfstream Park. Currently running Thursday through Sunday, Gulfstream's racing package is the best in the country, with all the top horses and people in the game pointing towards another tremendous winter season. Check out the remodeled first floor casino, open 7 days and nights a week, along with the many special events and concerts happening at Gulfstream Park. You can place your wagers from anywhere at firstbet.com. Check the calendar of events at gulfstreampark.com.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people. There is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen.
Just kind of early research and had this whole thing about, hey, check out what Hammer and Hank has to say. So I clicked the link and you got to pay $9.95. To see what Hank wants
get his
say.
pick? Are you kidding me? Holy Hank!
So
he is accomplishing the dream.
Hold on a second now. So it's 7 a.m. I'm looking yesterday morning. It's 7 a.m. Right? At 7 a.m.
You
here.
threw down to 10?
No. So no. So it's 7 a.m. here. It's 4 a.m. in Vegas. I call him up and I go, hey, you better call me up because I'm not paying $9.95 to get your pick. About 2 hours later, I call his sister Liz, who lives in Vegas too, and I said, hey, make sure Hank calls me back. And she's laughing. I can't even stop her from laughing and go, what's so funny? She goes, I just heard from the guy who's directing the race. And he called and he said, you tell Hank I'm not paying $9.95 for his picks. So I'm going to watch him deliver the picks.
Who is he, a masked jockey all of a sudden?
Defo and Lubie always have a blast kicking it old school with the iconic Tony Segreto. Brought to you by Catholic Health Services and Texas Roadhouse.
All right, welcome back to the show. It's the Defo Show, Ion Channel. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz, Tony Segreto, Old School with Tony every Wednesday, 8 to 9. Always a lot of fun. Texas Roadhouse involved, of course, and Catholic Health Services. All right, we have to cover a couple of things here in just like 2-3 minutes, Tony. On the hot dog thing, and I do recall, I believe that Jimmy Walker, J.J. Walker, was one of those guys that walked around with the tray wrapped around his neck. And they would grab a bun, and it was always a guy that looked like he just changed the oil in his car, and no gloves or anything. This predated, anybody even thinking about that. And he would take a little fork and stick it in some dirty Hudson River water that was in the middle of his tray, and pull a hot dog out, and then send it down the aisle, and everybody in the aisle would touch it.
Yeah.
and I love those at Shea and Yankee Stadium, but Calypso all time. I mean, the greatest hot dog at any ballpark. You have to defer to the aforementioned Vin Scully and Farmer John and the Dodger Dog, which I think was the best of any I've had at any stadium.
Yeah, I love the Dodger Dog. I was brought up a Yankee fan and brought up in going to Yankee games at the old Yankee Stadium, and the ballpark. I just can't seem to match that anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was a mustard and relish guy. My father, God rest his soul, was a sauerkraut guy. Some people wanted ketchup on it, but boy,
ketchup,
to this
no,
day,
forget about it. Throw that bomb out of the stadium.
Yeah, exactly. But to me, I mean, I just can't. I can't mimic that. I just can't find that hot dog.
No.
So
it's horrible now. I mean, you go to Hard Rock Stadium, here at the local stadium in town, or even down to I guess it's Lone. I keep wanting to say Lone Shark Park, but it's Lone Depot Park, which is the Marlins stadium, and there's no way. It's criminal to sell a guy like an $8 hot dog that comes in the aluminum foil.
Yeah.
And you're like, and it's been cooked like an hour ago. Forget about that, right? That's not really doing it. The Dodger Dog was great, and they would put them out quite frequently at any press box sitting in Los Angeles, and that was one of the first things if you were covering like a USC game at the Coliseum.
Yeah. Oh no,
straight for the dogs.
Yeah,
I sat next to the Onion Man though. He was positioned next to me. This guy used to take that whole giant, like Costco-sized jar of onions, diced onions, and put like the whole jar on his hot dog.
The onion.
And literally, like you couldn't see the field. Like, was that O.J. Simpson on the carry? Yeah, okay.
That man
like
needed
32.
That man needed
crazy.
a mask. That
My
man needed.
God.
He needed a
All right.
mask for sure.
Ortiz, what's your thought?
I was so happy for him.
You
I
were
was
okay.
So
Juice or no
happy
juice,
for him.
notwithstanding.
I I'm so far past that at this point.
I mean, a disgrace in many people's opinion.
Yeah, a disgrace for many people. I just love him. I love the guy, and I was happy for him. I mean,
all right.
You know what, he to me, he handled it differently than Clemens did. He handled it differently than Bonds did, and
that's positive, but nobody cared.
Yeah, exactly. So who do you like? Who do you like this weekend?
Oh, wow. Well, okay. I think Kansas City will muster up a way to beat Cincinnati, but it wouldn't, overwhelm me with surprise if Cincinnati somehow played a very solid game and benefited from a negative bounce by the Chiefs. But they seem to be rolling right now. I think Kansas City wins the game. Did they cover 7 and a hook? I don't know. And in the other ball game, you're talking about Rams in San Francisco. Wow. There's a weird serendipity to San Francisco this year. And the Rams have a penchant for choking, but I don't know. I thought the Rams, overall have a much better team.
I would go Kansas City Rams in this one, but I agree with you with San Francisco. Garoppolo reminds me of Trent Dilfer. You just go out there and you tell him, don't screw it up. Right?
He would be capable, but he's banged up so badly. It's hard to blame him for some of the typical bonehead mistakes.
He is so maligned, that young man, but God bless him. He just, he stays the course. He just does.
Giselle ruined him. Giselle, when she said, I don't put my Tommy around this man.
Oh, God.
Unbelievable. Yeah. All right. So you're leaning for chalk here. And what kind of lines are you getting? Can I bet with you, Tony? What's your guy, Lou?
Yeah,
You're probably getting like 10.5 there with Cincinnati.
I got 12. I got 12 for Cincinnati, and I got 18 for the Rams at home.
Oh, very nice. Okay. Well, Frisco's getting the points in that game, I believe.
No, it's Frisco. Yeah,
very nice.
But otherwise, this hour goes by way too fast, and I would like to get into, maybe next week we'll get into the Ortiz thing a little bit more, and I'll give you.
The Hall of Fame.
It's just the inconsistency,
It is. But you know what? I expect it now, and it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that Bonds and Clemens did not get in, and that Pete Rose did not get in. It doesn't surprise me. And here's why.
Pete is a whole different matter.
No. I get that, but still, it's all falls under the same heading, and that is that the media people still have, and those making the votes still have issues with them for the way
Bonds was an asshole to the media. I
mean, he was all the time, and that's what's happening. Right or wrong, that's what's happening.
He was an asshole to his teammates, also. I believe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Clemens was just, he was not irreverent, but he was just like, so what? And I think that comes back and haunts them. I'm telling you. I'm not saying
it was remarkable that a washed-up Roger Clemens went on to win like 6 Cy Young awards after he started doing juice.
Exactly. So would it surprise you? Would it surprise you when he's up for it if Alex Rodriguez gets into the Hall of Fame?
Well, supposedly he's up now.
That's not happening. He got like 30% of the vote in the beginning here. Now there may be a lessening of the resentment about supposed juicers. And we've seen any number of guys, including Big Papi, I'm a fan of Big Papi. He has the numbers to qualify. So the criteria just needs to be the same for everybody. I mean,
agreed.
If there's suspicion of juicing and they're going to eliminate those guys, then eliminate them.
Or give him a special wing, or give him a special thing.
You can't really do that.
They could. This is where the game was at that.
They should have it, the Pete Rose Hall of Fame, right outside of Cooperstown.
Can you imagine?
The next town over, and it has a giant syringe in front of the Hall of Fame instead of the bat.
And you could sell your T-shirts.
Probably could make a fortune out there. You're right, Tony. You're always thinking of business. All right, we have to run. Otherwise, we're going to lose this business. Thanks so much, Tony, for being with us. Texas Roadhouse Catholic Health Services, always a pleasure. Old
Love
school.
Them. Part of our
Tony
family,
Segreto.
man.
All right, Thanks Tony. You have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
And all right, that was a lot of fun, Lubie. I'm going to be off to Las Vegas, and you have some special plans here for the show, which is good. You're commandeering the program,
I'd be very happy to.
Some very nervous twitching going on right now at Ion Channel, as we mentioned that. But Lubie, you're going to see everybody tomorrow. Yes. Are you going to attempt that version? I know gurgles.
Attempting is the perfect word.
Scratch?
There's no gurgles. Attempting is the perfect word because running the board, answering the phone,
Park Trivia Challenge,
is really hard to do. So that in and of itself is a fun time, and then doing the trivia part is even better.
Yeah, that might
So
be
the
weird.
professor's gonna hopefully join me, and we're
Okay.
going to attempt the Highly Apart Trivia Challenge.
That's all we can do.
Check us out in the morning about 7:30.
We might be able to reschedule Louis the Cubist too to help you out
He's coming
there.
on Friday at 7:20. So
Oh, okay, great.
Friday at 7:20. We're gonna have Grant Long is gonna join me Friday.
Grant Long, oh nice.
Hopefully Mark Lawrence joins at 8:05.
Lawrence is necessity this week. A necessity. Yeah. All right, we have to run. And thank God we're not in traffic here. I got a monitor up here, and they're showing one of the local roadways in South Florida, and it's bumper to bumper, Louis. You better get moving right now. No, you'll never make it by 10 o'clock here. I'm going to have to blow this meeting off. All right. We'll see you. Louis, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be in Las Vegas. So wish me luck, everybody. And we'll be back with you again next week. Thanks so much for being with us here on the show. Or thanks to Tony Segreto, Skolnick for joining us. And happy to reschedule Louis the Cubist for Friday. That should be, even more appropriate because it's fight night at Hialeah Park. We'll see you next time as we leave you on that.
The time.
It's 9:05.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.